Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Bree Mesquit, esthetician, wax brand owner, and waxing educator. So today I'm gonna be demoing a men's ear wax for you. I'm using Rebel Wax Coconut Cream, which is a cream-based formula. Now, for ear and nose waxing, you never want to use a gel-based wax. You have two options. You can use cream-based or a hybrid 50-50, which is a gel and a cream mixed together 50-50. But today we're gonna opt for just a straight cream and our coconut cream. The reason why you don't wanna use a gel wax is it takes way too long to set when it's in an enclosed area like the nose or the ear. So oftentimes what happens is either one, you're having to wait way too long. It could be a little too tacky for that sensitive mucous membrane or your ear. Honestly, you could probably get away with it a little bit more with the ear than the nose. The nose is an absolute no-go. And what often happens is when people remove, there's a little bit of wax still left behind. So we just want to avoid all of that and opt for either a cream or a 50-50 blend. First, let me show you all the supplies that you will need for an earwax. So I'm going to grab my SMA. We'll need a cotton round or two. You'll need some small sticks. These can be used for any facial waxing, nose, ears, eyebrows. Grab a few of those. I'm going to grab my pre-wax cleanser and then some gloves. So with the ear, now you always pre-cleanse. You can pre-oil, but the only time I would really do that is if my client had a ton of hair and it was really coarse hair. I've definitely had clients in like that, especially our more mature clients. So in this case, he has more just fuzzy, some long ones there, but they're pretty thin. So I'm actually gonna opt out of using oil. It can tend to put a little bit too much of a barrier for my liking, and some of the hairs just don't remove properly. I do the same thing for nose. I don't really prep at all for nose. It's really hard to really cleanse that area, nor is it really necessary. So we're just gonna start with a pre-cleanse. That was a long way for me to say, just go ahead and pre-cleanse. All right, so we don't need a ton, just a few little squirts there. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, I made a rookie mistake. I actually put way too much cleanser. When I went to cleanse, this is my husband, by the way, who's being my model, it went into his ear. So lesson learned, that is one thing I definitely have not really done before. Thank God it was on my husband. One squirt, okay? And then let's make sure this is thoroughly saturated throughout the entire cotton round and not concentrated on one area. So when we go to cleanse, we are not putting that into their ear. I'm sorry, Chance. Okay, so people will grow the most of their hair right here on like this inner entrance, I guess. I don't know what the proper term for this is. And then sometimes on the lobe and then up the outer rim as well. So you can see he really doesn't have much hair. I think it's on this ear that there's a little bit more. So we'll get a little bit more action over here. You can see some hair there, but I'm still gonna show you the patterns that I would use. So go ahead and cleanse the whole area without drowning your client's ear canal with cleanser. All right, and then you can have a dry, clean cotton round on hand or even just a paper towel. Make sure the area is nice and clean so the wax can properly adhere. Okay, now it's up to you. Some people will use like a paper towel or something like this to add some protection, so you can totally do that. Or when I apply, a lot of times I'm using my hand. So let's start with the outer portion first. So here's our coconut. What we're going to be using is pointer tool method. So if you guys haven't yet checked out my free 6-week course, definitely get enrolled over there. I literally break everything down, including the 6 different types of strips you guys need to know. One of them being pointer tool. So we're just getting the wax on one side of our stick there, okay? With this strip, I start up top and I work my way down around the ear. Now, if they had a very coarse hair, I would come back up and thicken this strip up, because you always want to keep in mind, thinner the hair, thinner the strip, thicker the hair, thicker the strip. Right? Remove when it's still tacky. Now, if you need to, you can hold the ear from below here too. Now, if they have a lot of hair, you would really, okay, this paper towel is getting in my way. Paper towel may not be my go-to method going forward. If they have a lot of hair, remove that fairly quickly. This hair, especially if it's their first time, that hair can be pretty deeply rooted and it can be a little spicy. Right, so going forward, I'm just gonna use my hand like this. It's much easier for me. All right, and then next we would do earlobe. So we're kind of doing like a small basic strip. And then definitely hold taut like this, and I like to put my finger behind as added protection just in case you have any wax spillage. Sometimes their hair comes down here, so you want to make sure to cover that whole area. Always remove the strip when it's still tacky. So you want some tackiness to it, but you don't want it to be stringing behind on your glove. That's when you're going to have the best grip. Now, if it's hard to remove it in the opposite direction, you can always also apply going upwards. It doesn't really matter what direction you're removing this. You're still going to get all these little fuzzies. So I'll show you that other way on the other side of the ear. All right, now when we're doing the inner part of the ear here, we are never going into the ear canal, okay? We do not want wax to drip down there. So I like to position them like this, and then we're just gonna get any cosmetic little hairs that are hanging out right there. It's so incredibly important that your wax is at the right temperature. It cannot be too runny. If you're not able to hold your stick like this without the wax running off, then it's too warm. You have to have it really manageable like this. So I'm just gonna get this hair that's kind of superficially right here. Now you would place this based on where your client actually has hair, so sometimes you're gonna have to do even a second one up a little bit higher, but I really like to just err on the side of caution with this, not do too much at one time, and make sure that I'm able to easily remove it. So I'm pushing with my finger on the back side here just to kind of pinch this, so that's really able to grab all those hairs, and then you should be able to let go and the stick will usually stay up on its own, or you can choose to give it a little support as it sets. Now, to know when it's ready to remove. So see how I can mold that wax still, but it's not stringing behind on my glove. It's not super wet, it's ready to pull. So I like to hold like this, go quickly, and then you can give a little pinch. So he has little fuzzies on there, but nothing crazy. All right, so if you had a client with a lot of hair, you can totally come back and you would place your stick right about here. All right, we're gonna go ahead and turn our client here. Now, you probably would have your client remove their hat, but branding, okay, branding. I'm just kidding, he wants to keep his hat on, it's fine. So we're going to do the outer part first. So this time, forget the paper towel. I did not like that at all. Gloves is gonna be a little bit better because if you do get wax on your glove here, vinyl gloves are elite, so it just peels right off, right? So we'll start with that pointer tool method again. All right, so you can start up top here and bring it around. Be careful too not to grab any of those hairs over here by there. Is that a sideburn? Still get their hair. All right, get a little lift here. Now it's okay to release at this point because it's not super wet, so it's not gonna get stuck in his hair. It's not gooing along. You can use your stick too, honestly, especially a lot of clients don't have a ton of hair on this part of the ear. Where I see it the most common is maybe a little bit up top here. All right, next let's do earlobe, and now I'm going to show you applying it in the other direction. As long as you're using decent pressure, you're gonna be able to get this hair up though. All right, so now I'm gonna come upwards, bring it down to the bottom portion of the earlobe there. If you have any little pieces of residue, you can dab it off. Okay, so why this happened. So usually, and I don't know why I didn't do this, I would dab on the back of my glove first because it helps to kind of de-tack the wax a little bit so that you're not depositing more wax onto the client's skin. So always do that first. All right. Ooh, we got a couple of little guys there. Okay, next we are going to do the ear canal again. He actually has some decent little hairs there, so that'll be fun. All right, we're going to rotate him back this way again. Again, this is so that wax does not drip. There's zero chance that it can drip into the ear canal there. But again, really the most important thing about all of this is having your wax at the correct temperature. So you really don't need a lot. I like to twist a little bit because it kind of really grabs onto those. And then I'm just gonna push from behind and hold this stick here. Let it set. All right, so we're gonna test to see if it's ready. So it's moldable, but it's not stringing behind on my glove. So you can just get a good grip here and remove. And put pressure. All right, let's see. Ooh, we got some. All right, and then it's up to you how you want to end this service. You can use a little bit of a nourishing oil, or my favorite, honestly, is No Trauma Mama by Relax and Wax. Just a teeny little bit. Literally, just like a teeny little bit. All right, and that is it. So how often should someone be waxing their ears or their nose? Really, it would be the same thing as we tell any other client, Brazilian clients, arm, legs, all of the above. It's about 4 to 6 weeks. Really, men can tend to push this one out a little bit further, but consistency is key to be able to really start reducing the amount of hair that they start to grow back, and to be able to thin and soften this hair as well. So, all right, I hope this was helpful for you guys. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and then I will see you back next week.